Hey everybody, it's that time again for About the Buckets. Now 2 weeks in a row that we've done this. Maddie, you weren't here last week. We had
Mhm.
Luke Cheney fill in for you. Luke is amazing. It was a lot of fun. It was a good show. But welcome back, my friend.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, we're back in the
It
saddle.
feels. Yeah. Was I? Wait, I'm trying to remember. Was it before my wedding that we even did this,
It was the
or was
draft,
it
I
after?
believe. I believe
Oh,
it's
we did it after. Yeah, we for
yeah.
sure did it after.
We did
Yeah,
a draft show, and then little bit of a hibernation period for the show.
yeah,
Um, but now this is going to be weekly through the rest of the season. Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'm excited
So
to do this again. I mean, this was one of the things I'd always look forward to in the week. So,
I know.
unfortunately, me and you got a little busy, but I'm ready to get back
Yeah.
into it, man.
Dude, there's nothing better than talking hoops. I could do it all
Yeah.
day. Love
I mean, should we start by getting into the huge victory that your Jazz had tonight?
it. You know what's funny is even Woj had it circled because he tweeted about it. He was like,
Well, like
"Is the
the
Pistons
entire
losing
team was
streak?"
out.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I was nervous about it. I didn't even watch the game, to be honest. I This was a game that I was like, I can't watch. If we lose to the Pistons, that is just shame. Um, but I don't know. I mean, Colin Sexton has been playing pretty solid as a starter for the
Yeah.
Jazz lately. They moved him into the starting lineup, and he's been averaging over 20 points a game, and has actually been quite efficient. So, kind of an ugly year so far from Utah. Uh, but I mean, it is what it is. They tanked in the wrong season. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. So, what's I have to ask you. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I feel like this is something you would know. What's the worst record a team has had in the regular season?
Ever?
Yeah, ever.
Um,
Well, I guess
I
in
don't.
like an 82 game season, right?
Do you have it pulled up right now?
No, this isn't like a trivia. I'm just
Okay.
wondering if you know because I feel like you're an encyclopedia, so you always know this type of stuff. So,
So I want to say it. I can tell you if I'm remembering correctly, the worst team in recent memory was either like the Cavaliers in like 2011 or probably the Bobcats around that same time. But I'm actually going to look that up right now. Worst
9 and
NBA.
73, the Philadelphia 76ers in 1973, and then oh yeah, 2016, 10 and 72, the 76ers.
Jeez.
So we thinking the Pistons have a chance to do this or what?
The Pistons are kind of an enigma to me. Um, because I mean, yeah, I guess statistically they do. They're 2-27 now. Um, but like Cade Cunningham is good.
Well, and I
So
mean, Cade Cunningham is good, Jalen Duren is good.
yeah,
Um I love Asar. He's on my fantasy team. I mean, they kind of relegated him to the bench and his production's kind of, gone down, but and then
yeah.
Marcus Sasser too. He was having a few weeks where he was turning up too. I think it was when Cunningham was Cunningham out or was it Jaden Ivey? Someone was out and he kind of got some run. But
Yeah. So I was kind of right. But it was a partial season. The fewest wins in a season ever was the Charlotte Bobcats 2012, 7-59.
oh yeah, the 66 game season back.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Who
lockout season.
was that like with like Gerald Henderson and like can you pull up the roster? I want to remember it. Like, is that like Sean May,
I'm
UNC
clicking the link.
legend?
Let's see.
Was Gerald Wallace on this team?
So I guess I didn't answer your question totally right in the sense of you said full season, but I
Yeah.
remembered when I was in high school that the Bobcats just had an all-time bad team.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Um,
whenever I'd play NBA Live or whatever, I would always pick to play against the Bobcats.
yeah,
It was a fun
yep.
time.
So Gerald Henderson, Corey Maggette, Tyrus Thomas, Kemba Walker, DJ Augustine, Bismack
Oof.
Biyombo, Boris Diaw. I mean, that's not a terrible roster.
I mean, you list off those names and wow.
Yeah, Tyrus Thomas. Remember him?
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Former Bull.
Yep.
Jeez, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that roster really doesn't sound that bad.
No.
So we had a few topics that we wanted to cover. The first
Yeah.
one, I know this is maybe your favorite topic, but
Yes.
rookies. Let's talk rookies.
Yeah. No, so I mean, I feel like this draft class like could go down as like one of the deepest we've had in, I mean, a long time. You have guys like, Jaime Jaquez performing at a high level, even though he was, what was he, like around like 16 or 17, right?
Yeah. I think he went 18th or 19th.
Yeah. And then I always forget how to say his last name. The dude on the Warriors, the guard from Santa Clara, Podimski.
It's something like that. I don't know. Podziemski or I don't know.
Podziemski, yeah, it's super funny. I know that this is an NBA show, but he was actually Miami was recruiting him out of college really hard.
Oh, interesting.
And it was between Illinois and Miami, so much so that his dad actually DM'd me back in the day. Oh, cool. Yeah, about the show and stuff, and he's like, "Oh yeah," like talking to me. Super nice guy, but so he went to Illinois and then he transferred to Santa Clara. But nice to see him, performing well. That was, I think, him and Jaime Jaquez were kind of two guys that ended up in the right system, and you see them kind of performing. And I think you can actually even put Trace Jackson Davis too, who recently, has had like 2-3 good games for the Warriors with Draymond out. I didn't even think of that. We could have talked about Draymond too.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot of storylines.
So Luke and I talked quite a bit about the Warriors last time. Actually, we both came to the conclusion that the Warriors are cooked, that they're done. So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of still hold that opinion. I mean, maybe they'll still make the playoffs, but I don't think they're an actual threat for anything of substance this season.
Yeah.
So
I gotta. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, so I gotta ask you because I mean, everyone was big on this guy, but Scoot, man, what's going on with Scoot?
I don't know. I was very high on Scoot.
Yeah, as were a lot of people.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to him, though, it is kind of a well-worn axiom that like point guards take a little longer to ease into the NBA than other positions. So trying not to hit the panic button just yet. But you know who the biggest winners there are is the Charlotte Hornets. Because everyone gave them such a hard time for taking Brandon Miller over Scoot, including myself. I know you weren't someone that did. You were a fan of Brandon Miller, and you stood by that.
Well, okay. Wait, hold on. I'm not a fan of Brandon Miller. I just thought that
his
might have been a better fit. Yeah, his game.
You're a fan of his game. not any allegations.
Yeah, not any. Come on, Jordan. What are you trying to associate me with?
Yeah, your favorite players: Brandon Miller, Josh Giddey. No, just kidding.
Okay, you know what's crazy about that Josh Giddey thing too is that girl is from the area of that I live in. So we played that high school. They were in our league when we would play basketball, which is it's just weird.
Yeah. So yeah, one of the bizarre storylines of the season for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. So I mean, no, you're fine. The Hornets have to be feeling good about the whole picking Brandon Miller over Scoot. I honestly don't know what's going on with Scoot, but I think they just need to take it slow. They're a bad team, DeAndre Ayton is not good this year. Maybe just not good in general. So
he would have been better in a different era of basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, I think being on Chris Paul's team was probably a big help for him. So, Portland's just bad.
Yeah.
How about my guy Keontae George? How you been feeling about him so far?
Oh man, I was loving him. He went down with that injury, but
Yeah,
yeah, he right before that he had that game. He had what, like 38-4 or something,
yeah.
right?
He looks good.
Yeah. So
You know,
I mean,
I did not see the high level passing. Like before when he was coming into the league, I watched a lot of video clips of him and I did not see the passing
yeah.
when he was at Baylor. He's a great passer.
No, he is. I mean, underrated as a passer, probably coming out. And to be honest with you, when he was in college, he wouldn't make the shots he would take like he would be capable. He would take these tough shots that translate to the NBA, but he just wouldn't make them at an efficient level. And I think he's kind of adjusting his game, and I think a lot of it too is like the spacing is different. I felt like
Yeah.
the personnel he had in his college team. I think maybe that's why you didn't see the passing as well.
Yeah.
Not to say the talent wasn't there, but I think it was just the fit. But no, I think Keontae is going to be a really, really good player for the Jazz, and I'm excited that I have him on my dynasty fantasy team.
Yeah.
him, Derek Lively, Asar Thompson, and who's the other one that I have that's a rookie? I can't even remember. I think that's it.
Speaking of Asar Thompson,
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I'm a big fan of his. I
You
was at the draft.
you aren't a big fan of his, or
I
you are?
am a very
Oh,
big
okay.
fan of his. Tell me he doesn't remind you of like if you gave Andre Karolinko like elite athleticism.
Yeah, he's that type of player.
I think that's the comp for me. Like he's gonna be the next Mr. 5x5.
I mean, it's crazy that his stat line today against the Jazz. He had like 3 steals or 3 blocks or something, and then
Yeah.
like that's just as a wing player, it's insane.
Yeah. He's
Um,
all over the
I th-
place.
yeah, I think a lot of people kind of joking on his jump shot. I think it'll get there. The
Yeah.
mechanics are kind of there. I think it's just he's got to get comfortable and get some confidence shooting it. But I think he'll be fine offensively. He's too good in those other areas to not be on the floor.
Mhm.
I really think that you would see him excel if he was on a better team too, if that makes sense.
Yeah. He's like the perfect gadget player for a playoff team.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
And
being
he's only 19 years old.
Yeah, but being on this terrible Pistons team, I think Monty Williams has not done a good coaching job. I mean, he's mismanaging Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson pretty horribly, in my opinion. Um, I don't know, man. There doesn't feel like there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel for this Pistons team because they already have the young talent.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Well, we
have
were
Thompson and
excited to
Ivey
watch
and
this
Kennedy.
team. Remember? We were like, "Oh man, look at this roster, all these young players."
Yeah.
But
Well, how many top 5 picks do they have? I mean, Cunningham, Ivy, Thompson,
Wiseman,
Wiseman, yeah. And then wasn't Duran like the 8th or ninth pick or something like that?
yeah, he was like 8th or
Marvin
9th.
Bagley's on the team. There's
Isn't
no
wasn't Kevin Knox technically a top 5 pick if we want to go there
I can't remember to be exact, but I think you're right.
for the
And
Knicks?
Kevin Bagley's
Oh
a
yeah,
um
Marvin Bagley.
yeah, Kevin Marvin Bagley.
Kevin Knox was the
Uh,
ninth pick.
okay. Yeah. I was typing Kevin Knox into my search bar to
Yeah,
find
I
that.
knew. I felt it. I felt it coming. So I was like, "No, I got to beat him to the punch." No, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I completely forgot that is Joe Harris injured or something, or is he just not playing?
Yeah, I think he's been hurt.
Okay. Because I was like looking at their roster earlier today and I was like, Joe Harris is on the Pistons. I completely forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and they have some good vets. I mean, Joe Harris is decent. Alec Burks. Alec Burks
Yeah.
was like a hot commodity in terms of like a bench player just a few off seasons ago and decided to re-sign with the Pistons.
Yeah. And
The
your guy
Bojan Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovich.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that roster on paper is not a 2-26 roster. There's something going on.
I mean, to be honest, if you're just looking at the rosters, like completely healthy, I would say this roster is better than. I mean, I'm trying to let me look at the standings. I don't want to say a team that's completely sucks, but I mean, I would take that roster over some of these other young teams that are performing,
Like Houston.
better.
I'm trying to think, like, explain to me why Houston's so much better than Detroit.
Dylan Brooks, man.
Yeah, must be. You
I
know.
hate that guy.
Yeah.
No,
You
I
know what
mean
I'm
they
saying
have.
though? Like,
I would. Yeah, I mean, dude, Sengun is so good,
yeah, he is.
and I think Van Fleet too. Like he's a solid leader, right? Like he's
Yeah.
gonna push those guys to play on both sides of the floor. I I think the team just like fits better together. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the individual talent isn't that much superior, but the team just complements each other more.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Better coaching, Ime Udoka.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is true.
You know, but like, I mean, Portland isn't much better, but like, explain to me how Portland has a significantly better roster than Detroit. Like, I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
You know,
no, it's true. It's true.
it's
I
just
agree.
weird. Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of young players. I mean, we haven't even talked about some of the guys that were like higher picks too,
Yeah.
right? Like Jarris Walker, he hasn't really even played that much. Taylor Hendricks, right? I don't know how much he's been playing for you guys.
He's just barely starting to get time. And he's
Yeah,
actually he's been popping a little bit. More like if you're watching the film, he's popping more than if you're just watching the game. If you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Like
Yeah, I got you.
if you're like watching him specifically, um, there's been some really nice plays. He's put some nice games together to get me excited. But I think it's more of a he's not jumping off the screen a whole bunch just yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you have guys like, I mean, I used to have this guy in fantasy, Anthony Black. I drafted him right out the gate. But obviously, that's a pretty heavy guard rotation, and
Yeah,
Orlando's playing pretty well.
yeah, they look
Um,
good.
yeah, they look pretty good. Who else? Who is the guard from Grady Dick? He hasn't really kind of come on
Yeah.
as thought, probably. But yeah, I can't think of. There's someone else I was going to bring up too, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, Bilal Koulibaly.
Yeah.
He's shown some moments. I think
Yeah.
that he has a lot of potential too.
Yeah.
And then Jordan Hawkins too.
He looks
Chan-
good. He looks
Yeah,
really
he
good.
looks for someone that I mean, he was what? He was a junior when he came out, or was he a
Yeah.
sophomore? But he looks pretty solid as well. So
I think he's the classic case of like he passes the eye test, but there's a whole bunch of like other reasons that teams don't draft him, like he's old, I don't know if he can get his shot off, stuff like that. But then when you watched him in college, you were just like, this guy's really good.
yeah, well, I think teams get so obsessed with like the potential of guys, right? Like, I mean, I think that's a reason why when people saw the Heat select Jaime Jaquez, they were like, "Oh, why would you take,
Yeah.
Jaime Jaquez when these other guys are there that haven't even like seen a minute in the league yet?"
Yeah.
Um, like Gigi Jackson, or who were some of those other guys? There's some other guys that Heat fans wanted too, but it's like when you watch the tape, the guy made contested shots that translate
Yeah.
to the league. He played defense. He's not the craziest athlete, but
Yeah.
he does what it takes to win.
Yeah.
So
Hawkins was always the perfect Heat player coming into
yeah.
the draft. And you know who he kind of reminds me of
Hmm.
is he reminds me of Joe Ingles a little bit. I think he's gonna be better than Joe Ingles ever was.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I just get that vibe. The way that he fits on that Heat team, it reminds me of like the 2019 to 2022 Jazz, where we had that pretty good run, didn't win anything. But like, kind of that same role where he can distribute a little bit, plays tough defense. He hits shots. He makes big plays. Not necessarily in a flashy way, though.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of young talent in the league right now. And so it'll be exciting to see, the superstars we grew up on are, getting up there, man.
I know.
But,
They're all losing a step besides LeBron.
which is, yeah. In season champ, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. In season tournament MVP.
Okay, can we? Oh, I have something to bring up about the Lakers, but it's not directly like, okay.
Let's do it.
It's so stupid seeing on Twitter, to me, seeing people like, oh, like, why are the Lakers celebrating this in season? Like, dude, if it was any other team, they'd be hanging this banner too. The NBA wants this to be a thing. It's all for ratings. They want to make it into this big thing. It's not directly about the Lakers. It's a stupid, and like for people just, using it to take a shot at LeBron and whatnot and call him out. It's stupid to me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like the league is pushing it. I mean, I think the Lakers very clearly did not treat it like it was an actual championship because they hung a banner. They hung the type of banner that you hang for division championships.
Yeah, it was down there at the bottom, and
yeah, there's space for putting more years on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people get overblown with the whole MJ LeBron thing, and Michael Jordan would never celebrate something like this. It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like hasn't he punched teammates over card games and stuff on the team airplane? Like,
yeah, and the thing that was annoying too was the people saying, or posting that clip of Kobe saying like we don't hang division championships or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if Kobe was around when they had the in-season tournament, guess what? The league is going to make him do it. Kobe's not the one that gets to decide what gets hung there. So
yeah, no, you're 100% right. So,
but yeah, no, sorry. I feel like I'm going to be going on random tangents because we haven't done this for a while, and I'm just going to remember random things.
Yeah. So do you have any more rookies in mind? We haven't talked about Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama, who are both technically rookies.
Oh,
Chet's technically a rookie.
Chet's not a rookie. I don't agree with the whole like if you've been in the league for a year, just because like who was I watching of like it's a whole year that you just focus on basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're in college where you can where you go to class and then you have practice and whatnot, and there's limitations on how much you can be on the floor and whatnot with your team.
Yeah.
It's
and you
different.
got so much else going on. You got homework, your living situation as a professional is not the same as a college athlete.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Like your social life, your school life, are way bigger burdens than any other distractions you could have as a professional.
Yeah, no, I mean, but just getting back to it, Chet and Victor, man, they're just unicorns. I mean, I feel like, both of them, it's their first season playing, but like you'll see the consistency. Yeah. I feel like a little more because those flashes are going to start to be, more frequent, and pretty soon they're going to be tearing up the league. And did you see the video of Victor? He was like saving a ball out of bounds and he like rolled his ankle and people are like, how is he not injured? It's like, well, have you seen the videos of him doing yoga and like doing all these like balancing drills and whatnot? Like,
yeah. And his flexibility, the way that he stretches is amazing. I think he can do the splits. If I remember correctly, he posted a video of him doing the splits in the offseason.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And like people talk about him getting injured and it's like, I get he's not like, he doesn't have that much weight on him, but like when you have that type of flexibility, there's no other big man that's doing anything like that.
Yeah. Well, what's annoying to me, and maybe I don't know how other teams feel about the Spurs. The Jazz have long, since Stockton and Malone retired, it's kind of been a thing where they're like, we're trying to copy the Spurs model because they're a small market team that did it,
Yeah.
And we've always done a crappy job of trying to be the Tim Duncan Spurs. So it pisses me off that the Spurs, 2 times in a row, they get a number 1 pick, actually 3 times in a row, that just has their life totally together. David Robinson, model citizen, Tim Duncan, who is like the most low maintenance superstar of all time. Then they get Victor Wembanyama, and at the draft, they're like, Victor, what are you doing now? He's like, oh, I'm deleting social media. I'll see you when the season starts. And then he comes back and he's doing the splits. It's just like, not only do the Spurs get lucky with getting the first pick, but they always get it at the best possible time.
Must be nice, huh?
It's infuriating.
Oh man.
Lucky them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you for a hot take here, and maybe your take won't be so spicy. I've seen people on Twitter say things to the effect of, the difference between Chet and Victor is a lot smaller than people want to admit. Would you even consider taking Chet over Victor if you could have either?
You mean like if you asked me like who I wanted to start a franchise with, I would.
Yeah, for the rest of their career, are you even considering Chet?
No.
Me neither.
Yeah, no. That's not a hot take at all. That's a. Yeah, no.
Yeah. I was wondering if you'd get a little spicy, but
no.
I think you're right.
You watch, dude, you just watching Victor Wembanyama dribble. Like, it's like, how the hell is this guy 7 foot whatever?
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense.
Yep.
The level of control he has, like, it's insane. There's no one like it. Like, the whole like, oh, the league's never seen this before. And then I remember the league has never seen someone like Victor Wembanyama before. And then Shaq said something about like Bol. And I was like, if you put a clip of Bol just dribbling down the court next to Victor Wembanyama, if you don't notice a noticeable difference, you shouldn't be answering this question.
Yeah. Well, so here's a mind-blowing stat. So there is a larger height discrepancy between Dwight Howard and Victor Wembanyama than there is between Dwight Howard and Kobe Bryant.
How tall is Dwight? Like 6'10", 6'9"? 6'11". Okay.
Yeah. So, and I mean, the only reason that's crazy is because Kobe and Dwight played very different positions, very different styles of basketball, but they both kind of fit into the prototypical size range for their positions, right? A 6'11" center, very typical. 6'6" shooting guard, very typical. Victor Wembanyama is also a center, but he's 7'5".
So crazy.
Yeah.
I still don't understand it. I saw him at Summer League.
Yeah.
He didn't even have that good of a game scoring wise, but just like seeing what he was doing on the floor, like with ball handling and whatnot, it was just insane.
Or how about this? Just pulling these off the top of my head. So the difference in height between Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Edwards is the same as Joel Embiid and Chris Paul.
Yeah,
he's ginormous.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Do you imagine like if there was like a center, like obviously Ben Wallace is a legend, but a 6'7", like Ben Wallace guarding Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah. Or Draymond Green. People would be like,
or
Draymond would shut him down. There's an 11-inch difference between Victor and Draymond. And yeah, I'm sure.
How tall are you, Jordan?
I'm 6'2".
Okay. So how would you feel against going up against a 5'2" guy in the post?
I'd feel pretty good about it, to be honest. Yeah. And I mean, Draymond would have a lower center of gravity. He's a strong dude. Maybe, I mean, it's not like Victor's just going to drop step through Draymond. It's not going to be that type of thing. But you really think if Victor just hit him with like a hook, like a hook shot or just a turnaround jumper, that type of thing, a face-up jumper, what's Draymond going to do about that? Can't do anything. There's not many people in the league that can do anything about that.
No.
So, I don't know. Sky's the limit for Victor. I'm with you. I think Chet has been amazing. I don't say that in any way as a slight to him, but like the thing that's so impressive about Victor, and it always will be, is just the raw physicality or the physical advantage that he will always have. Because there's never been a player like him with his kind of skills. Like he is a more skilled basketball player than any of the great big men of our lifetime. Maybe he's not elite at any one thing yet. He doesn't have the sky hook of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but I can tell you what, he could dribble circles around Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I mean, when you're 7'5" or whatever the hell, you don't really need a hook shot. Yeah. You just go straight up. You're not going to block it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's kind of my point is like,
dude, Victor could block a hook shot from Kareem probably because his wingspan is like.
Yeah, he probably could. And like he needs to get the one elite skill, like the bank shot from the corner that Tim Duncan had, the sky hook, that type of thing. But if you're just looking at like how well-rounded of a basketball player he is, he might already be one of the most skilled big men of all time. I mean, how many guys over 7'1" can dribble the way that he does or shoot the way that he does? Pass the way that he does. He has some good passes. He's not necessarily a guy that can run the point for you right now, but he definitely has passing instincts.
Yeah.
He's always making the right pass. So, big fan. Going to see him, actually.
Absolutely. There you go.
Yeah, I have tickets to the Spurs versus Jazz. Hopefully he plays.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So one last topic I wanted to talk about real quick. We're trying to keep these shows between 30 to 40 minutes now. Minnesota Timberwolves. They're in first place in the entire NBA. They actually might be a half game behind Boston right now. But they're first in the West, and they have a 2.5 game lead on Oklahoma City. How about that? like my Minnesota Timberwolves takes from last season were right. A little premature, but you have Anthony Edwards playing like an MVP candidate.
It's crazy to me that like people are so quick to dismiss like Rudy Gobert playing better as like part of the reason why.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the one to say it because they expect it from you.
Yeah.
But I mean, last season you could tell he was not 100% healthy. Averaging a full block more than last season. Yeah. Another guy I have on fantasy. I mean, there's a trend here. I pick the good ones, right?
Yeah. Are you telling me a 7'2" guy needs a healthy lower back to play good defense?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
I know.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
No, and then I mean, partner that with Mike Conley too. Still a good player.
Yeah.
And then they have? I was thinking of this. Didn't you guys have Nickeil Alexander-Walker? Don't they have him now too?
Yeah. So that was the most painful part of the Conley trade.
Yeah.
Because I was ready to let Conley go. I was ready to get that Lakers pick. It was the 3-team deal with Minnesota, LA, Utah. I knew all that was happening. So even though I was sad to see Conley go, when I saw that we put Nickeil Alexander-Walker in there, that was the dagger. It was like, oh no, what are we doing? Like, really? We're giving up on that guy? Wish it was Talen Horton-Tucker. That's all I can say. We traded the wrong guy.
Hey, I feel you, man. I wish we would have re-signed Alex Caruso instead of Talen Horton-Tucker.
Yeah, that was a big
what we get from that? Patrick Beverley, and then look at that. He's gone.
Yeah.
But no, I think too, like the pieces, are starting to they fit better now. Nas Reed is probably the best backup big, right, in the
Dude,
league.
he's amazing. He's so
Shit,
good.
I'd take him on the Lakers right now.
Yeah.
We almost signed him. I think we did actually try to sign him. It's
Yeah.
whatever, but
Yeah.
no,
he was my number one guy because going into free agency, the Jazz had about 20 million in cap room. And I was
Yeah.
like, my number one dude is Nas Reed. Like
Yeah.
we need to throw the bank at him. But yeah, he signed even before free agency started. He took advantage of that loophole where you can re-sign with your team before it opens up to everyone.
Mhm.
So didn't even get a chance.
Nope. But yeah, no, I mean, it's not surprising. Obviously Anthony Edwards too, like you said, has been playing at an MVP level.
Yeah.
I fully expect him to keep it up for the rest of the season. They're playing the Lakers tonight, though, actually, aren't they?
Let me check.
I
believe
thought that we
so.
were playing them today.
Oh
So
yeah, that game's going right now. It's let me pull up the box score.
yeah, I guarantee we're losing.
I think yeah. Timberwolves are up 13 with 2 minutes left.
Yep, there you go.
Um,
See, about to be another victory for them. What are they, like 20-6, 21-6 now?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, the Timberwolves are just so deep. They have Jaden McDaniels, who's one of the best wing defenders in the NBA. They have Rudy Gobert, who he's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year again. He's going to be an All-Star. He's probably going to be third team All-NBA for the center spot. At least I'm thinking that would probably be right. Depends on if AD is classified as a center this year.
yeah.
Towns, I mean, he's an all NBA talent. Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards. But then off the bench, they have Kyle Anderson, Nas Reed, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They are legitimately they're an NBA Finals team. They're deep enough. I'm convinced that they can make it.
Well, those guys would start for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Nickeil Alexander and Kyle Anderson is one of my favorite role players too.
I'm not saying they will beat Denver because I wouldn't predict that just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm saying they have a roster that can make the finals. Absolutely.
Yeah. Kyle Anderson reminds me of that Boris Diaw role type. And those are the dudes I love, right? That they rebound, they do a little bit of everything on the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
But
we got the Boris Diaw experience for 2 seasons here in Utah, and I loved it. He was an amazing player to watch.
Yeah. Man.
We didn't even talk Donovan Mitchell. We'll have to save that for next week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's kind of a running thing, right? We can we can talk about that.
He probably won't be traded yet.
Yeah,
by
I
the
don't
time
think
we talk
so.
next week. So
yeah.
Anyways, let's wrap it up.
Sounds
30 minutes goes so fast.
It does. You didn't even shout out the sponsor.
I know. All right. Good call. So check out my shirt, About the Fans. They're the sponsor of the show. Make sure you go to aboutthefans.com. Follow them on Twitter for all of your South Florida sports apparel needs. Obviously we connected through being big fans of the Miami Hurricanes. We can see all your stuff in the back there. We could tell you're a big Canes fan.
I have the new background. I forgot.
Yeah. So all you Canes fans out there, check out aboutthefans.com. You're going to see stuff you like.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, until next time, thank you all for checking in. And this is About the Buckets. Catch you then.